Stop saving for retirement and start spending money now. I have a 60-year-old couple. They've saved plenty for retirement. They need to spend more money now. And I want to show you how you can spend more money now and save for retirement and get to retirement, through retirement, and protect your ability to stay in retirement. I want to show you a level of retirement income that I work out with my clients, and then we're going to put it into play in the financial EKG, in the software, so you can see how it works with taxes, with cash flows, with market adjustments, and with answering the question, can I retire and will my money last forever? All right, so let's look at this. Here we go. So we have three basic tranches for our income, okay? The first one is ages 50 to 60. Now you might be working still, and obviously many of you are going to be working in this age range, but here's what you've got. You're working, you've got your peak income, right? Our debt is low, our expenses might be lower because the kids are gone. We're saving, right? We're saving in our 401ks and our IRAs, our Roth IRAs. We're doing what we need to do to get to retirement because we see that retirement's coming. Maybe you're going to retire at 60 or 62 or 55. We see retirement coming, so we're saving and doing what we need to do in order to take the step into retirement. What I find is this in between right here. Let's say we're going to retire at 60. And we've got to go from 61 to 70, and that's really where we're going to say we're going to enjoy our money. A lot of times, clients have difficulty switching from saving to spending. And so that's why I think we need to start putting spending habits into play now in this age range, so that when we move from 61 to 70, it's easier for us to spend our retirement savings. I'm not telling you to spend it all and go to zero. What I'm saying is learn how to make the switch, right? Enjoy yourself while you're young. You're active. You can travel to Italy. You can drive across the country. You can do whatever you want to do without having to worry about your knees, your back, COPD, whatever your chronic health condition might be. My uncle and aunt on my wife's side, they were going into retirement, wanted to enjoy the fruits of their labor, and unfortunately, my aunt was diagnosed with a rare form of Parkinson's. Young, healthy, all kinds of future ahead of her, and life had other paths. And unfortunately, she's no longer with us. So that's why I'm talking to you today. We want to spend more money now and understand that we have to protect ourselves for the future as well. So here's what I'm proposing. That you start spending more money in this area. Spend more money between ages 50 and 60 because this is the time when you are the healthiest. Now, between ages 61 and 70, a lot of things are going to come out. You're going to be in retirement. You're probably going to go on Medicare. You're going to claim Social Security, okay? You're also going to probably have your first health issues, right? Between the ages of 61 and 70, odds are you're going to have your first health issues, whether that's chronic, whether that's sudden, whether that's out of the blue, because we understand now, not only are we flipping here from 60 to 61, but 71 and beyond. That's when we start to be able to not travel. Health causes us to not want to go anywhere. This is what they call the slow go or the no-go years, right? And this is where our chronic conditions kind of catch up with us. And we also have tax issues and RMDs. And what I'm trying to say is if we can start knocking out some of our retirement spending earlier, this is not going to keep us from achieving our retirement dreams. And your retirement dreams might not be traveling. Maybe it's passing on wealth to the next generation. Maybe it's doing some things on your bucket list. Maybe it's helping out charities now instead of in the future. And so let's look at that. I want to look at a couple today. They're 55 years old. They're going to retire at 60. I'm going to show them how they can spend more money now, but also never run out of money. Hang on right there. Can I retire at 60 with $800,000 saved for retirement? That's what we're going to look at today. We have a couple, they're 55 years old, and what we're going to look at is spending more money now. Spend your money now. Enjoy your money now. Stop saving for retirement as long as you're doing the right things, and have a good retirement plan, a financial EKG that's going to get you to retirement, through retirement, protect your ability to stay in retirement. You ready to look at this? Let's go into the software right now. All right, here's what we got. We got Jimmy and Sharon. It's Jimmy and Sharon Frugal. Thank you for the name recommendation off of YouTube. Obviously, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Jimmy is a welder and he's self-employed. Sharon works part-time at the church. Now, Jimmy's income is $80,000 a year. Sharon's income is $30,000 a year, and they're both 55 years old. And we're looking at retiring around 60 to 61 years old. We're going to look at 61 at this point, but we're looking right around 60 or 61 years old. Now, here's what I want you to notice first. Jimmy's self-employed. Sharon works on staff at a church. So Jimmy, when we look at his taxes right offhand, his Social Security and Medicare is self-employed, right? So he has a higher tax that's due for Social Security and Medicare. Now, if we go over to Sharon, right? We go to Sharon, she's salaried. She has a lower tax on her Social Security and Medicare. That's just a little tidbit of something that needs to be factored into your retirement plan. That's why it's so important, the small details you need to be thinking about. I'm not talking about the free software that you can run online. I'm talking about having a detailed financial plan. If you want one from me, contact me below. The information is there. Let's put together a financial EKG, a comprehensive retirement plan to get you to retirement, through retirement, and protect your ability to stay there. Now, Social Security, we're looking at both Jimmy and Sharon taking Social Security at 62. Now, Jimmy's his primary benefit is $2,035. Sharon's going to get a spousal benefit because her benefit record, she just started working or just started working again. She raised the kids, she homeschooled the kids, a lot like my wife does. We homeschool our 3 children. God bless her, because that is an incredible job. It's a tougher job than anything that I will ever do in my industry, okay? Now, she's going to take a spousal benefit of $651, okay? So her earnings record or her Social Security is actually less than half of what Jimmy's is, but because Jimmy's going to claim early and she's going to claim early, we're actually only going to get 32% of a spousal benefit. Now, Jimmy's going to take Social Security at 62, which means he's going to get 70% of his full retirement benefit. If we waited till 67, he would get 100% of his full retirement benefit. If he waited till 70, he would get 124% of his full retirement benefit. But because we're going to take it early, he's going to get a reduced benefit of 70%, which is also going to give Sharon, his spouse, a reduced benefit as a spousal benefit. Okay? Following along? Perfect. Now, there aren't any pensions, right? Jimmy's self-employed and Sharon works at the church, so no pensions. From an asset standpoint, here's what we've got. Jimmy's got an IRA with $450,000 in it. He's doing the max contribution, $625 per month. Sharon has a Roth IRA, which they've been contributing to as a spousal Roth IRA, but now she's working, so she's contributing the max to her Roth IRA. And they also have a joint account, a joint brokerage account, which I call a freedom fund, which they're putting $250 a month into. So, essentially, let me pull out my old calculator and let's look at how much we're saving. $625, and $250. They're saving $1,500 per month for retirement. $1,500 times 12 is $18,000. Let's go back to their income. We've got $80,000 plus $30,000. So what is that? 110, 90, 100, 110. Okay, $18,000 divided into 110 is what? 16.3. So they're saving 15 to 20% of their gross annual income. They're saving 16.3%. So they're doing exactly what we want them to do in the sense of saving for retirement. What I want to convince them to do, they're conservative. They're hard-working, conservative Americans. And I'm not talking politically conservative. I'm talking about fiscally conservative. They've worked hard. They're saving their money. They want to see this money last throughout their retirement and for their children. I want to convince them to spend a little bit more now to enjoy themselves. Because I know that with Jimmy's job, hard working job, that his knees, his back, his neck, his shoulders, his elbows, his feet are going to be bothering him later in life because he is working hard. And so we need to look at this and say, how can we spend more money now to enjoy and have a solid retirement plan? All right, so they have a home. It's worth $450,000 and they don't have any debt on their home. All right. Now, from a rate of return standpoint, we're looking at about 4.74% rate of return. So we have $575,000 in current spendable assets. We're putting $1,500 a month into contributions. We've got a $450,000 house, which means we have a total portfolio value of $1,025,000. Okay? Now, let's go to the next page. Let's look at expenses. Here's where we're going to start putting in some spending. So, we have baseline expenses of $3,000 with inflation of 3.27%. So baseline expenses are utilities, taxes, food, memberships, anything that you're going to continue to spend money on. And we're looking at inflation of 3.27%. That's the 109-year average, okay? Now, it could be higher for the next couple years. It could be lower. I just want to look at this on a national scale. An average on the nation, right? Because your inflation in Los Angeles is different from Waco, Texas, which is different from Bangor, Maine, which is different from Tampa, Florida. But when we're looking at this, what we're trying to get for each individual client is an individualized inflation rate, because it's so important that your inflation rate is not the same as my inflation rate, right? I'm buying diapers. Are you buying diapers? I hope not. Maybe. It depends. You might be. But what I want to look at is, what's your individualized saving rate? Now, let me show you what I mean by that. Let's act like, let's throw in an expense here. Let's say they had a loan for whatever, and that loan was $500 a month. $500 a month, okay? So they're at $3,833. Now it's $4,333. You see that? We added the $500. Now the inflation rate is 3.27%. But let's say that the loan doesn't have inflation on it, right? So let's take that to 0. Now, you see how the average inflation rate went down to 2.89? That's because we were able to have an individualized inflation rate for them. We don't want to have 3.27% on a loan. If it doesn't have inflation, we don't need to calculate in. Think about the cash flow. Think about 3% in your 80s and 90s, what that really comes to. We need to have an individualized inflation rate. Again, that's why it's so important to have a comprehensive financial plan. We call it a financial EKG. And in our financial EKG, we look at the 316 principle, right? The 316 principle says this. We have 3 forms of income that we want in retirement. We want a Social Security, we want some sort of guaranteed income, and we might need a source of variable income. Social Security, guaranteed, and variable. That's the 3. We want one comprehensive financial plan covering the 6 areas of your retirement, the major areas of your retirement. Let's look at this. Income, 1. Assets, 2. Expenses, 3. Cash flow and taxes, 4. What we're doing pre-retirement, 5. And our retirement, 6. 316 principle. Reminds me of a really good verse, John 3:16, right? So we look at this and we can take this loan out now because they actually don't have the loan. And so for them, we've got baseline expenses of $3,000 with 3.27% average inflation. Now, here's where I want to talk to you about spending a little bit more money. Now, we're going to look at fun until 60. We're going to look at fun from 60 to 70, or 61 to 70, I should correct that. And then fun from 71 to 80. And you can see how there's different values of this fun and how we've broken this down. So fun until 60, Jimmy and Sharon are going to spend $833 a month on fun. Now, I'm breaking this down on a monthly basis, but we're looking at it as a lump sum for a year, right? So $833, multiply that by 12, that's basically about $10,000 a year they're going to spend. I'm asking them to spend on fun while they're young, okay? We're going to put inflation on that because a vacation to Florida is more expensive today than it was 2, 3, 4 years ago, right? Try to go to Clearwater Beach today. As a local, I don't want to go to the beach. It's so expensive. Now, fun, 61 to 70, we're going to look at $1,000 a month. okay? That's $12,000 a year with inflation. So we're gonna continue this on. Now the reason I went from $833 to $1,000 from ages 55 to 60, 61 to 70 is because I needed this number, this $1,000 number, to be inflated for what that would be worth in 5 years, right? So this 833 is today's dollar. This 1,000 is basically 833 a month 5 years from now, okay? That's how much your money erodes. That's a lot of money. And then fund from 71 to 80, we're backing it down to $810 a month with inflation. Okay, and we're gonna end it at 80. We're gonna end the fund at 80. Doesn't mean you're not gonna have fun. We're just trying to look at this plan. We wanna spend more money now, okay? Are you guys tracking with me? Leave it in the comments if you're not. If you have questions, concerns, leave it in the comments. Let's talk about it. So we go to cash flows. There's no cash flows in this situation. Taxes, we're doing pretty good. We go to 2024. We're in Massachusetts. Projected federal tax rate, 8.36%. So we're in a pretty low projected federal tax rate. He is self-employed, so we have the ability to have some more write-offs. We're looking at deductions, we're looking at a standard deduction of $27,700. Now, we have itemized deductions for Jimmy and Sharon because of him working, so his taxes are a little different. His business is an LLC, so again, there's a little bit of a different tax situation going on for them because he's self-employed, but looking at it on the surface, without some of the benefits of being self-employed, they're in a very, very, very low tax bracket. So let's look at pre-retirement. This is what's important. I want to look at this right here, this net monthly cash flow, because that's going to tell me, can they spend a little extra money now? So we're 55. Here's our salary, welder, right, and part-time. Here's our monthly contributions to the IRA, to the Roth, to the brokerage account. So we've got a net monthly income. There's our salary, there's our IRA, there's the Roth, there's the brokerage, there's taxes withheld. So our net total is $5,542. Here's our expenses, $3,885. There's our net monthly cash flow. See, we're in the green? We're in the green with fund being in there. So for them, I'm able to say, hey, Jimmy and Sharon, you see this green? You might spend it because like your HVAC might go out, you might need a new roof, you might need a new car, something. But based on where you're at today, you are in the green. And you can see their retirement assets are growing to over $859,000 at 60. Okay? So we're spending more money now. They could easily save this, right? We could take some of this and start chucking it into our investments. But does that make the most sense mentally? Well, let's look at it again. We go to pre-retirement. We've got $859,000 at 60. Are we saving enough? So the question becomes, can I retire at 60 or 61 with $860,000 saved for retirement? We go to retirement now. Here, let's look at this. Here's our Social Security's kicking on, right? Here's our retirement savings. Here's our net monthly expenses. Now here's what I want you to see. See how the net monthly expenses are growing? Then at 80, it slows down a little bit. And look at this. At 100, they've got $75,420 left in spendable assets. This is their house. It's worth $709,000. So they could have easily sold that sometime there and put that back into the plan, or downsize, or move to Florida. I don't know if they'd want to move to Florida. Maybe move to Tennessee or the Carolinas or something if they wanted to, or out west, Colorado. I don't know, wherever you want to go. But I want you to see how there is plenty of money left. Let's go back to like 89 and 90. Look at this. You have $542,000. And they were spending that extra money, right? They were enjoying themselves. So that's what I want you to see. I want you to save for retirement. Look, here they are. They're saving for retirement. They're doing the right things. They're working hard. They've got money in the bank. They've got money in their IRA, their Roth IRA, brokerage account. They're saving money. But they're also enjoying some money now, right? So they can enjoy their savings, they can enjoy their income while they're healthy. Now, for them, we're not pulling this out of their IRA or their Roth IRA and causing any kind of taxable penalties. We're pulling this from monthly spendable income. Okay, this is money that's been taxed and we're using it. So instead of it going into the bank, we're gonna spend some of this. Now, once they get to 61 and 70, I'll show you, once we get into retirement, now we have a withdrawal order. You see this? We have withdrawal, we're gonna withdraw the IRA, the Roth IRA, and the non-qualified money. So we're gonna pull money out of our investments once we get into retirement. It's cash flow until then. So you've gotta be real careful if you're doing this. If you're under the age of 59 and a half, you're not pulling money out of your IRA, your Roth IRA, your 401k, unless you're using a rule of 55 or a 72T or something. You don't want to do it and cause yourself a tax penalty. Make sure you have a comprehensive financial plan when you do this. So for them, we're trying to spend more money now so that we can enjoy it. We can enjoy it. Look at this. At 70 years old, they got $843,000. At 80, we got $744,000. And you go, well, what about long-term care? I'm pretty sure $744,000 and $580,000 house, what is that? What are those two figures together? I can't do that in my head. 744 and 580? That's $1.3 million in total assets. I'm pretty sure they got long-term care covered at that point. And those are conversations that we're gonna have down the road about what we need to do to protect against that. But I also want them to enjoy themselves, okay? So I hope this video has helped. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.